everyone. We are off for another Major League Wingspan stream tonight or the morning, depending upon where you are. I am Fly Eagle Fly, and I'll be joined by Smithbow for this match between KingPleb and BlackSpice. Smithbow, how you doing?
Hello, good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Looking forward to this match. I think we're ready to get started. And I think KingPleb has won the toss and is ready to I think send the invite shortly here, so we should be getting started at any moment.
All right, here we go.
Interesting starting hand, it looks like, for KingPleb. What are your thoughts so far, Smithville?
Yeah, a couple ways to go here. Kind of 4 of the 5 at least think could be useful. I feel like Chip Chaff has become less useful nowadays. Full tuck not as interesting as maybe it once was, but still could be a wetlands option. I think it was the only one there. But White's a very powerful keep early, and then even the titmouse could work to build out a forest. So really, which all of them could be could be useful. What about you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, the only wetland option in the starting hand is Chip Chaff, so I kind of feel like that's probably that's almost a must keep. And then I'm a big fan of the Twite. I just think if you can get that down, round one, you can get some card cycle. It's guaranteed, 8 tucks throughout the game, and I think looks like KingPleb is kind of also, to your point, looking at the titmouse for maybe a forest option as well. So I think it's looking like he's gonna go in that direction, and then. Uh, Both bonus cards could work here. I would probably lean towards Passerine, given the 3 cards he's keeping. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, same. Yeah, the 3 he has kept there, the 3 I'd be looking at, and then yeah, same with the bonus card as well. Didn't see the feeder. Looks like there's nectar in the feeder, so maybe I get titmouse down, get food, and then start playing.
And if we look at
Black Spice.
BlackSpice's hands, same thing. Only one wetland option in the white-throated Kingfisher and Sri Lanka Blue Magpie. What are you thinking here if you're BlackSpice?
Yeah, probably the same. It's kind of interesting. It's similar hands on both sides with powerful birds or options, but limited wetland options. So it might be some slower tempo early on, but have a long game that they could be playing.
Yeah, neither player has amazing starting hands, so it'll be interesting to kind of see, to your point, like tempo-wise, who can maybe get going a bit faster here. So, but yeah, I think it looks like BlackSpice is kind of keeping what you had mentioned in the Kingfisher and Sri Lanka Blue Magpie.
Yeah, I think they were somewhat straightforward starting hands, and that'll be interesting to see how they take them and what cards they can reveal, because they said neither overly strong. They had options, but it's not terribly strong. I think they're going to need to hope to find some things to build them out.
Is there anything in the trade that would interest you in taking, or are you thinking maybe when you start drawing cards, you would go off the top?
Yeah, probably either off the top or maybe even reset uh, with spend a food to reset, another possible option. But yeah, nothing there, especially in the early game, really jumps out as something to go for.
And looks like
Maybe the Hoffinch, but yeah, not really.
yeah, just first, yeah, maybe it's like some extra food, but you're right. I probably would take the risk of maybe resetting the tray with some food and seeing if something better pops up.
Yep.
It looks like KingPleb went with the titmouse first, and it's going to take some food from the bird feeder. So maybe just trying to kind of get some food for get the chip chaff into the game.
Yep. Yeah, especially with the nectar there to grab that. Yeah, tray reset.
Some interesting
Ooh,
options coming up there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a black-headed gull and laughing kookaburra. So BlackSpice is all over those two. So
Yeah.
pretty good finds, I think.
Yep. Nothing else you can make it a frustrating game for KingPleb.
But I will say it might work in KingPleb's favor, revealing a common raven in the tray.
Yeah, that certainly changes things. I feel like that's a must take there, especially if they caught a glimpse of the tray on the reset, knowing that the Kingfisher came up. That pair with
Right.
the Raven very strong. So
But at least I think for KingPleb now, this gives you some direction in the game, right? Because I think with the starting hand, you really kind of weren't sure, what's the angle you're going to take, and I think now with the Raven there, you're going to clearly go grasslands going forward.
right, yep, yeah. I think now it might be just play chip chaff and draw for the rest of the round. Maybe take food to try and have the food for the Raven.
Yeah,
But
I
kind of
think
look
that
to see
makes
what you
sense.
can find to set up that wet or set up the grasslands now that you probably go in that angle.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense, right? It just kind of, play chip chaff, take some cards, buy yourself some time, and then, like you said, maybe take food. It's tough because he has two nectar right now, right? And it's like you're probably gonna have to take food a couple of times to get the Raven down at some point.
Mm-hmm. Right. I'd still probably prioritize Twite here,
Hmm.
even if you're having to don't get the Raven down as quickly. I think Twite early is just that powerful to see more cards, get a few more tucks.
Yeah, completely agree.
What do you think about Black Stork on Black Spice's side that came up? Like that's another one that if you can get it down early enough to get the 2 eggs from it, but it can be tricky to get down to get a bird on both sides early.
Yeah, I kind of like it in this situation because there isn't really a kind of an obvious way right now for black spice to get eggs. So I think the black store could be a decent option. And then if you look at the third end of round, the black stork aligns nicely with that end of round. So I feel like there's some good synergy there, both from getting an egg perspective and maybe winning an end of round later on.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Yep. I was wondering if it might pick up the Meadowlark here.
Yeah, yeah, and I think if you're black spice, you have to kind of hopefully see that and say, okay, maybe there's going to be some, you know, eggs coming my way if I can get a ground nest down. And it looks like the only one that he has in his hand right at the moment is the black-headed gull.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, I think you have to go Twite here. I think you have to just kind of, like you said, get that into the game, get some card cycle, and then maybe take food a couple of times and be ready to, lay eggs and play the Raven and going into round two.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I think it outweighs the tempo hit you're taking by doing it.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. I
And,
agree.
for King Pleb, this is a good, if you take food twice, it kind of works well with this end of round, right? So you can hold on to 4 food, and then you got Raven food going into round two. So this could work out well for King Pleb if he ends up taking food twice here.
Right. That's true. Could also draw once and take food. Is it? There's no rat in the food there. I think that you.
Yeah.
No, never mind. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, I'd have to do it twice. For some reason, I was thinking the titmouse was a good spend a cash on, but unfortunately not.
But to your point, right, you're kind of
Uh,
relying on a reroll, right? So you're hoping that a rat pops
yep.
up in the tray, and if it doesn't, then you're gonna have to do a little bit overpaying in that case.
Right.
So like taking food, and then
Yep. Good
yeah, it
chance
looks
at
like
seven.
Black Spice is going with the black stork. So yeah, to your kind of what we were saying before here, I think that's probably kind of leaning towards just getting pushing out that forest and getting some eggs, or maybe going into the wetlands here. So never mind.
Maybe wetland. Interesting. Yeah, I thought they might maybe thinking of the ball angle. I thought they might go forest there and then try to build the forest, especially with the magpie. But you can
Mm.
see the wetlands too. Just to be curious. Yeah, I'm guessing they'll pair it with the gall, but could also go kingfisher potentially.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting, right? 'Cause like you could get the gall down into the wetlands, and then you're taking cards, you're getting some food, and then maybe, and you still have that kookaburra in your back pocket. So if you end up playing the magpie at some point, you could be really accumulating a lot of food, throughout the rest of the game.
Right. I'd be leery of going in that case Gaul and then Kookaburra, because then you're giving a reset for the feeder manipulation wouldn't really be on your side in that case. Most likely be giving a nectar to your opponent
That's a good point. Yep.
with the Gaul. They drew there. I'm a little surprised by that.
Yeah.
If they're looking at the end around, no, yeah, I'm a little surprised there.
Don't know if there's any amazing options with the toy gave. Like, I don't think you're gonna. I think you probably tuck the Azure Tit and then Harrier or Meadowlark potentially. I think maybe you hang on to the Meadowlark for some extra eggs, and I think the Meadowlark does qualify for Passerine, but
Yeah, I agree.
no, just a little big.
Mm,
But yeah, it
just
looks like
above.
they. Yep.
But I don't know that. Yeah. I don't know that Harrier gets that much utility this game. Yeah.
Hmm.
Especially at the moment, I don't know if they're looking at that angle, but there isn't a nest yet on BlackSpice's board, so maybe they're thinking if they can get that down fast enough, they might be able to catch them without one.
Yeah. No, good point. No, I think if you're KingPleb, I think you have to just lay eggs, get the Raven to the game, and start kind of building out the grasslands a bit. That's something maybe amazing in the trade comes up. Like maybe I'd be looking at that Butcher Bird as a potential option for the grasslands. Just to kind of build that out a bit.
Yep.
And looks like
Yeah,
black-headed
it's
coal
interesting.
is making its way into the game, so it'll be looks like stealing some food from KingPleb.
Yep. Yeah, it's a pesky bird to play against, especially when you have a Raven.
Mhm.
Really
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
cuts the
Yeah.
nectar advantage off at the knees a bit.
I know it definitely removes some of that great feeling you have when you draw a Raven and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna get my
Yeah.
my nectar stolen away.
Right. And I know I get in my head of do I do I try and be tricky and not take
Right.
nectar and then oftentimes I tie myself in knots trying to be too clever.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you have to start, kind of being thoughtful of like what the bird feeder looks like. Because typically when you
Mm-hmm.
play Raven, you're not too concerned about the bird feeder, but in this case you have to be a little bit mindful of it.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the most annoying because
Yeah.
if your opponent is able to get the feeder in a bad state and leave it there, you get really stuck. Nightingale coming in. A lot of BlackSpace is finding all the birds that KingPleb would like to find to pair with that Raven. And just as we were talking about, there's the example of taking the nectar and not
Hmm.
having a recourse.
Yeah. And it's yeah,
That was,
I think it's one of those things where it's like you just kind of say, expect that it's going to happen. You're going to get your nectar stolen, but you just, try and just kind of just
yep.
push through maybe.
Yeah, I agree. There's unfortunately, not a lot you can do about it. It's not one of
Hmm.
those you can really play around because you just gotta, yeah. And then, yeah,
I
columns
like
are
the
also not a welcome sight for KingPleb to see go
nah,
down. Really, just the
yeah,
Ravens' defenses are all up.
some really good counters on the Black Spice side with the Asian coal and the Gull, right? So you're really kind of minimizing the strength of the grasslands that King Pleb is trying to build here. So yeah, I really like what Black Spice is kind of putting together here.
Right, agreed. Yeah, it's almost one of those where it's just, Raven obviously still very powerful bird, but there's situations like these where it's just if it doesn't have something to work with it that you can get up quickly, and if your opponent is able to build counters to it, it can turn into a very tough game to get going just because you're getting just cut off by your opponent at every turn, it feels like, and then you just getting only 2 fruit a turn, especially just unfortunately drawing all the expensive birds.
Hmm. Yep.
You just don't have the food access to get it quickly enough.
Yeah, and I think this is where you're seeing the lack of card draw on KingPleb's side kind of coming to light here, right? Where it's just like, you have this nice little grasslands that you're kind of setting up, but nothing really to kind of go with it, and it can make it feel like it's just taking forever to kind of get things going.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, 3 birds are already down in this round for Black Spice. You might think they're hanging on to one nectar, so we're gonna see if yep they were expecting the egg, and we'll get a couple here.
Yep. Yeah. Assuming it'll be the kingfisher. Oh no, they're going with the rail. Okay. Thought they might go kingfisher this early in the game, particularly again with the mag like kind of in their back pocket.
Hmm.
But
Double quail's a nice find though
yeah,
for Black
that's
Spice, right?
yep.
'Cause I do wonder if you're Black Spice, are you gonna start kind of maybe pivoting towards the forest a bit more and you know try and just take a lot of food, cache it with the magpie, and then now you have supple quail to get some extra eggs. So like I'll be curious to see if that's directionally where they might kind of move to as the second half of the game gets underway.
Yeah, agreed. That's just kind of thinking with the kingfisher too. They could get that kind of going like, a little quicker, but I wonder if they'll kind of because I don't know if that's enough to get them the rest of the game. I think they'll need to find some other things to play. So if they kind of air salvo it a bit, because I think
Mhm.
eggs between the stork and the free eggs they're going to be getting are pretty sorted. Plus the subtle quail, I don't think they'll really need to venture in the grasslands probably at all the rest of this game, and they can
Yep.
just go between the two.
And
Still
now we're
not a bad score on King Pleb side, even though the lamenting we were, or at least I was kind of
yeah.
doing on the the Raven. It's still a decent score to show for it for after round two.
I'm a little surprised you didn't go after maybe the painted bunting. I thought that could maybe be a nice option to kind of fill out the grasslands. And I think
Yeah,
if you're Black Splice, it looks like I wonder if he'll be going forward, and it looks like that might be the case here.
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think even I'm guessing King was thinking one to build out the grassland still with engine birds, but at the very least that would have been I think a good deny,
Mhm.
even if you don't end up playing it, just 'cause I think that's the type of bird Black Space is looking for. Just things to put in bonus birds, big point birds to put in the wetlands.
Yep.
Curious now too if we'll play I'm blanking on the name, the other pink power leg egg.
The cuckoo.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I hate that I can picture the bird in my head, and then name it doesn't come to mind.
I know. It's like you
Not
just
great
want to
for
tell players,
commentating when that
Can
happens.
can you raise your cards a little bit, please, so I can
Right.
just get a quick peek of what you have?
Yeah. I know in
Right.
my head what it is. I can describe it, but I can't tell you the name.
So it looks like King Pleb has found House Finch. What are your
House
thoughts
Finch.
about this point in the game? Is it too late for House Finch, you think, or is there still time?
I th- I think there's time just because you can get it down quickly, and then it is still a point in turn. So, and I think the card cycle I think is value, but it's borderline. I think it's
Mhm.
I think it does hit pass ring too. That it does have that going for it. So it has some advantage or some pros that go with it. But yeah, it is borderline. I guess what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely borderline, especially like King Pleb doesn't have a ton of cards to cycle with right now because the two cards that are in his hand, I think he'll want to play. So
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to spend a couple, a turn to take food and then get it down, and then then I have to draw cards again and find something to cycle with. So it just feels like again, like from a tempo standpoint, could be not the best option here. And I think um it's interesting, right? Because I think while Raven is so good, it does only get you 2 food per turn, and I think if you're trying to play some
hmm
of these big expensive birds, it can just, you know, be a little bit, challenging to get them, into the game as quickly as you want.
right. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking with the husband. It's just because you could it could be played so quickly. The plus, because it's expensive birds, and I mean, I also think that there's an argument to put it even in the wetland, just because card draw continues to be the problem here, and even if just building a bird that you can play quickly to build that wetlands out a little bit, again, by no means an ideal option, but even just something to get that wetlands built out, because two draws, only seeing 2 cards a turn is presenting a major problem.
BlackSpice keeps looking at this cuckoo here, which I'm intrigued about, but I'm just kind of looking at like BlackSpice's like kind of like end game here. It's like where are you getting your points, right? And I still like feel like with that magpie and with the kookaburra and stubble quail, like I almost feel like you have to be kind of like getting that forest built out and just taking food a bunch. And I think that's maybe it looks like that's kind of where he's going right now with the magpie.
Right. Yeah, getting that done. So I'm a little surprised because I would prioritize kingfisher over the cuckoo for sure to those two, and then even here because you're going to need to take food for the magpie. So if
Right.
yeah, just getting that, like every kingfisher activation is an extra point, and then that would get you to column 4.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, and he's good on eggs. Like between the
right.
stork and the coal, and you have that stubble quail in your back pocket. So like
Yeah.
you're good on eggs.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's basically it's every activation here would be another kingfisher one to me. I'm a little surprised that he went with the teal power there instead of another brown power, unless he's just thinking he's just looking to play the bunting and then just really just take food and kind of do it that way, and not even really worry about the kingfisher at this point. Which it is kind of getting to that point where it is getting late for for that to be useful.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with the cards in hand that BlackSpice has, I probably think Painted Bunting and Stubble Quail are probably the only two I'm thinking about, right? Like Kookaburra is just 1 point. It's like I don't know. I have a hard time playing a 1 point bird at this point in the game, right? And I do see the benefit that it would push out the forest and it would get you an extra food and that's the extra 2 food, right? But I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I think at this point I think it's past the time. That's why I was thinking even going back to before the red knot, playing it then, because then every food activation was getting 2 extra food, 1 from the kookaburra, 1 from the
Yeah.
last column. So, but yeah, I think at this point it's kind of past its benefit.
Yeah.
But it seems like they both kind of struggled from the same just lack of card draw, or at least lack of finding cards to play. And they're both their end games are kind of, they have end games, but they're not. They're kind of clunky like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to
KingPleb,
put it.
there's things
Yeah,
they can be doing, but it's not what they want to be doing.
yeah, and their points are going to come from very different places here. Where I think if you're KingPleb, you're gonna probably play the turkey, hope to get 1 or 2, maybe 1 or 2 more birds in the game and get some eggs running your grasslands. And I think if your BlackSpice, right, is going to be taking food a bunch, cashing with the magpie, and playing the stubble quail for a bunch of eggs at some point.
Yep.
And to end the round, it's hard for me to say from looking at KingPleb screen because I can't see the full board, but I think he's ahead in terms of this end of round right now with the Great Horned Owl and with the Wedge-tailed Eagle that he
Which
played.
eagle? Yep.
So I in the Raven. So I think he's ahead, but yeah, I don't know for 100%.
Right. Ooh, that's a
Yeah, couldn't
handy
find that
find.
1 or 2 turns earlier, which made this end around more interesting. But yeah, that's a
Right.
great find for BlackSpice. I mean, that's no food costs, and now you
Yep.
can really now your end game is really starting to come to fruition, I think.
Yep. That kind of solves a lot of the end game problems there.
Mm.
Could even potentially just throw it in the forest right away.
Yeah,
Take
good
food a
point.
couple times, play 2 birds. Just
Yeah, that's a good
assuming you'll
point.
get eggs at least once from a grassland activation from KingPleb.
and 6 caches on the kingfisher, which I must say is pretty
Yeah,
impressive because I've
he had
always
a good
struggled with
game.
that
Yeah,
bird.
yeah. I wasn't paying attention. Was he stopping at two? I assume.
No, going 3.
Or he was
So that's
going
pretty
three. All right.
yeah, so it's progressive.
Yeah, maybe I should because I usually stop at two, and yeah, I'm with you. I usually don't see that much success, so maybe got to start going to three. Apparently. Yeah.
So I
So I
think
didn't.
it's a close game where I think it's 75 for KingPleb and 70 for BlackSpice at the
Yeah.
moment, but there's a lot of I think a lot of points that are still, you know, on the board for both players.
Yep. Yeah, and I think Black Space at the moment has the better end game that Benelli might end up being what swings it. If King Club found that, it might I
Yeah,
think that might be a kind of a turning point find. But
yeah.
I think King Club has to find at least something else to play because there's nowhere to get the points really. I think he's gonna have to hope he can find like even that pheasant might be something just out of a almost a desperation pickup just for big points.
Mhm. I'm a little surprised they're taking food. I mean, sorry, they're taking cards this first turn. I mean, I guess they wanted the red eye Vireo, but I don't know. I would have like what you were saying
Yeah,
before. I think going Benelli in the forest and then just taking food 3 times and playing Stubble Quail would be kind of what I would be looking towards, but,
yeah, agreed. Yeah, yeah, because you had the card in count for thought they had the cards to do everything without needing more cards. But yeah, unless then assuming they're now doing thing in double play, player Mario into Benelli.
mm,
But yeah, I don't know if that
maybe that
activation really gave them that much.
yeah. Now I think King Pleb is 1 short off the lower bound of Passerine, if I'm not mistaken. I think he has 3 birds less than 30 centimeters down, but I could be wrong. So I'd be wondering if he's gonna take cards and see if he can find
Yeah.
something to maybe kinda at least hit that lower bound.
Yep.
Now we got Vireo into I would assume Benelli here.
It would have to be Benelli, right?
Yeah, just from like a food perspective, I guess.
Yeah. Really food slash worth playing. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, I couldn't afford the tit because the tit may have been interesting but even probably even late for that.
Yeah. Now King Pleb's in like a tough situation, right? This is not a great feeling coming into like the end game here when you have no cards in hand and you're just kind of
Yep.
gonna, you know, and I don't know if he's gonna just lay eggs maybe the rest of the way. I mean, I
It,
guess that's
I mean,
an option.
yeah, I don't think there's the egg space where it
Yeah, I
is.
think you're right. I think at some
Yeah.
point you're gonna run out. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I think you could probably take cards, take food, and
Yeah, take cards. Maybe then spend one for a tray reset to see if you can find. But even that, I mean, that in of itself is a gamble.
right.
I think or yeah,
Yeah,
the passerine bird would be like it's a
yeah. I think that
one of
I
the
think
like
that
2 cost forest bonus birds hits passerine would be the kind of the dream find.
mhm. He is taking nectar, so he might. It looks like he's planning to at least take cards at some point
Yeah,
this round.
yeah, I think that's yeah. Don't have really egg space to lay egg out. So I think that's what you have to do because you gotta do something with these last few turns. So
Yeah,
curious if
and
they reset or just go off the top here.
I think I reset. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, it's
yeah.
not a great find. I
See
mean,
the pheasant bay? Yeah. But yeah, just it not hitting passerine kind of makes it less of a not as useful.
mhm.
But,
Yeah, 'cause I think I would have thought about a tray reset because then you're gonna still lay eggs, you get the food you need, and if you get one bird down, I think that's a victory.
right, exactly. still a gamble, but I think it, especially at this stage in the game,
Mhm.
I try to put myself in his shoes. If once I saw Benelli go down, I would have my thought process, but I need I need a bit of
Right.
a Hail Mary here. I need
Yeah.
something to swing this.
Yeah.
It did go stubble quail, and then so right, food again. So we'll end up with six tucks or six caches from the
Okay.
magpie.
Now, I will think, does he take nectar, right? Because I think he can flip the nectar in the wetlands.
I think so.
Yeah, 'cause I think he has
Yeah.
one spent in the wetlands now, and I thought Black Spice had
Yep.
3. So if your plan is to play green pheasant, I don't see why you wouldn't. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yes, that almost kind of cancels out the it not being a passerine. It
Yep.
kind of gets the same net, or I guess even more because it flips it. So. But yeah, I think KingPleb just didn't have the card draw, and then even the limited card draw they had just really they found some good birds, but they were all expensive, and that just
Yeah.
with Raven only getting 2 food makes it tough.
Yeah, and I was wondering if if you were going to go for that green pheasant, if you would have went for it earlier, because then if you can get it down before your last turn, you can lay eggs on it and look to at least tie this end of round.
Right, that's true. Good point. Another stubble claw really came in clutch for that
Hmm.
as well.
Yep.
Now the Twite finds.
Yeah.
I was about to say the Twite didn't. I mean, Twite got its tucks, but didn't really have a great game in terms of what it was finding.
Yeah. And we'll see how it ends up here. Right now, Indian Vulture will get 3 points
3.
for Black Spice,
Yeah,
which is more than what
more.
King
Yeah,
Club was at.
yeah. It's always tough when the steal a bonus card and scores more.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see. I think it's going to be close.
Yeah. Yeah, bonus card's tough.
Here's some points for now the food for.
Yeah, it's. Oh wow!
Wow.
Oh wow!
Oh,
I would not have predicted that.
what an ending,
Wow! I would have never guessed that one.
man.
Well played.
Yeah, I'm at a loss for words. It's one of those things where you're like, you just, oh wow, 1 point here or there could have swung it.
Food tiebreaker. Yeah.
Yep.
Food
It's one
tiebreaker,
of
and then
one of those rare situations where the catching all the food with the magpie comes, back to
actually,
bite you. But
yep. Yeah, it's either lose by the food tiebreaker or lose by 1 if you keep one
right,
back. So you're kind of you're
right,
stuck
yeah.
anyway.
There's no situation. Yeah,
Yeah. Man, I am. Yeah, and with you, I'm a bit of a lost for words. I did not see that
yeah. That was
coming. I
a
thought,
wild ending for sure. Good
yeah,
play, well played on both sides for sure.
yeah. I think they managed it well because like we were saying along, it was a bit clunky on both sides at different times, and I think they got a lot out of it for what they had. And that's it.
Yep.
Predators on both sides did like that wedge tail eagle might have been the MVP with hitting
Yeah,
twice there or
it's a
3 times, should say.
that can be a really streaky bird, and I think
You know,
getting it to 3 times when King Pleb ended up getting into the game, right? I think is pretty good. It's really good actually.
yeah.
I think we're
Wow, that
seeing
was
if
a.
either player wants to speak after the game here.
I thought I lost.
That was a
Yeah,
crazy ending.
it was. Honestly, so did we. You pulled that out. That was very impressive.
Yeah, that
I
was
figured my
I mean,
only chance was laying eggs for the last like 2-3 turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, good game. That was fun.
Yes,
Yeah, it was a
crazy on the food tiebreak.
crazy ending. Yep.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah. I know we were saying when Benelli came up, I at least thought that was the game. I thought that was going to swing it, and
I
then
thought it was over.
right. I was hoping along those lines as well, but just that food, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was
There was the one hunt with the kingfish where I was like, should I stop at 2? And I didn't. And it's always one of those where usually just click through, but I was like, it hasn't been good so far. Should I keep the 2? Didn't keep the 2.
And it might have been a partial announcer jinx because we were talking up the kingfish for a bit and saying, "Oh, hey, let's look at that 6 caches. It's pretty good." And then got stuck at 6.
Yep.
But wow. But yeah, I guess anything else from your guys' side that any decisions that stuck out for either of you through the game? I know Fly and I had a lot of. It seemed like a very interesting game on both sides in terms of the decisions throughout. It was kind of clunky. That was the word we kind of were using it, especially towards the end game of kind of finding which way to go. And then some birds should have to make some decisions, but it was well managed by both of you to kind of find your way through that kind of mid to late game to find an ending.
Yeah, the goal was really putting me back like 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah, I didn't have a straightforward ending, and it was just hopefully finding some birds that I could play that gave me a path forward, because other than that, it was just hey, what do we got here?
Right. Yeah, it definitely seemed like one of those games. And yeah, we said the same thing with the Gaul against Raven. It's tough as the Raven player of just we agreed you just kind of had to plow through.
Yeah, I just I just head down, just kept doing it.
Yep. But yeah, well, very well played by both.
Thanks for streaming.
Fly, do you have anything else?
Thanks for playing.
Yeah, thank you guys for streaming.
No, I think I was really just my question was really kind of like what the kind of what both of your thought processes were kind of going into that end game. I think you guys kind of touched on it a bit where it was like trying to like navigate those last few turns was really kind of tricky, but I thought you both made the most of what you could do given the kind of the cards you were able to pull.
I was really hoping to get Horned Lark down on that first turn, but the 4th round, I was like, I wasn't sure whether to go for the Vireo to get that double play for. I don't know if where I guess Horned Lark would have been that extra ground nest that may have been enough to put me over, but especially with the bird counter, then I would have got that one tuck with the turkey play. So, and would be interested to see how that would have changed things.
Cornlock's always a fun play. If you can get that into the game, it's always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting decision there too. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Especially, game that comes down to a tie. There's always the think back through of all the what could have been done differently to to get there.
All right. Well, if there's nothing left here, thank you both for streaming, for taking a few minutes afterwards to speak, and it was a fun game to watch. So really, good game on both sides. So well played.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you. Yeah, very, very well played.